When it comes to public health messaging, sometimes the line between science and sensationalism gets dangerously blurred. And right now, that line is being crossed in a way that could have serious consequences. The core issue? A recent report claiming that acetaminophen, known as paracetamol in Britain, and the active ingredient in Tylenol during pregnancy might increase the risk of autism. But here's where it gets controversial. The evidence used to support this claim is deeply flawed, and the implications could be harmful to millions of expecting mothers. Yesterday, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services issued a warning advising pregnant women to steer clear of acetaminophen, citing a systematic review led by Harvard's Dean of Public Health, Andrea Beccarelli. The review asserts a strong, consistent link between prenatal exposure to acetaminophen and neurodevelopmental disorders like ADHD and autism spectrum disorder, ASD. They emphasize that their findings are robust even after controlling for various confounding factors, negative control periods, and using advanced statistical techniques like propensity score matching. But here's the catch. Many of these methods are not foolproof, and the review actually overlooked or dismissed evidence that contradicts their conclusion. The most glaring oversight? The authors ignored sibling control studies, research where scientists compare siblings who were exposed to Tylenol in utero with those who weren't. These studies are among the strongest evidence because they control for genetic and environmental factors shared within families. Surprisingly, these sibling studies found no increased risk of autism or other neurodevelopmental issues in children exposed to Tylenol compared to their unexposed siblings. This suggests that the association seen in broader population studies isn't causal at all, but rather coincidental or influenced by other factors. One of the largest and most rigorous studies, involving nearly 2.5 million births in Sweden from 1995 to 2019, exemplifies this point. Researchers used detailed prescription data and found that while there was a correlation between higher Tylenol use during pregnancy and increased diagnoses of autism, this link disappeared when comparing siblings with different exposure levels. Essentially, the children exposed to Tylenol weren't more likely to develop autism than their unexposed siblings, indicating no causal relationship. The review itself is riddled with logical fallacies and misrepresentations. It cites weak evidence as if it were conclusive, fails to synthesize study results quantitatively, and even misinterprets or misquotes the studies it references. This lazy cherry-picking of data seems designed to support a preconceived narrative that Tylenol causes autism, despite the overwhelming scientific consensus to the contrary. As a result, this misleading information could cause real harm. Expectant mothers who rely on Tylenol to manage pain and fever, since alternatives like opioids are unsafe and ibuprofen is contraindicated early in pregnancy, may now avoid a safe and effective medication based on flawed science. If the supposed link were true, a debate about risk versus benefit might be warranted. But the truth is clear. Current evidence does not support any causal link between Tylenol use during pregnancy and autism. When public health authorities disseminate misinformation, the fallout can be devastating. Fears that lead to unnecessary suffering and health risks. Who will stand up for the mothers caught in this web of flawed science? And perhaps more provocatively, should we question whether some of these claims are driven more by fear-mongering than by genuine scientific consensus? It's worth pondering. What's your take on this controversy? Do you believe the science, or do you see this as another case of alarmist headlines overshadowing facts?